The E39 M5 exhaust escapade continues. What's up, everyone? Corey here, aka M3 Black Shadow. I am in the garage with the M5 because we are further tuning the exhaust. So if you watched my last video, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably know that I got a full Supersprint exhaust, headers all the way back on the M5, and the results are astonishing. The power is absolutely incredible, even without a tune. And my only gripe was that it wasn't quite loud enough for me to like kind of excite me. I think for some people it would be perfect. For me, I kind of like to hear it a little bit, but I've been looking for that balance between, you know, refined, not too loud, not going to upset people who are in the car with me, and loud for, like, you know, when I'm by myself and I'm ripping it. So today, I think we're finally going to solve that. So in my last video reviewing the Supersprint system, I had mentioned that I ordered an unresonated X pipe with hopes of seeing if I could add some volume and make it a little bit louder, but I was suspicious that it might make it too loud just because a lot of people on the forums and online had mentioned that when you axe the resonators, it gives it a lot of drone and a lot of volume. But I took a chance. I went ahead and installed that unresonated X pipe. I filmed the video just giving it some revs. I'll play that video now. So as you can hear, it's not just so much that it's loud, but it's actually pretty raspy without the resonators. So I went ahead and installed the resonators back on the car. But before I installed the mufflers, a lot of people were asking me, hey, how would the car sound if you left the resonators and had no mufflers? So I was really curious as to how it would sound. And so I took it out for a drive before installing the mufflers. I also did some revs. Go ahead and play those videos here. Now, if you are thinking what I'm thinking, that sounds so good, right? It sounds incredible with the resonators and no mufflers. So then I had a decision. I could either do a muffler delete. Now, Turner Motorsport, they make really good quality parts, and I actually have some great stuff. I have their skid plates. I got their short shifter kit, which is incredible on this car already. They're going to be releasing a muffler delete kit this summer. And I was thinking that that would be a great option. But then I was thinking a couple of things. First of all, without the mufflers, it's actually pretty loud, and it might bother people who are in the car with me. And I figured I might want to, you know, I don't know if I want it that loud all the time. The other thing I was thinking was that I really need some great like support in the back to hold the whole system up. And the way the Supersprint mufflers are configured, they really like there's a little slit in there, and you can really kind of push it up and bolt it in, so it keeps that whole system up nice and tight. And then the third thing is that these exhaust tips look incredible. So that's where I finally came up with the perfect solution. Introducing brand new Badlanz HPE exhaust cutouts. These things are absolutely incredible. Super robust. Badlanz HPE, the owner is awesome. His name is Charles. He's kind of like a one-man operation. You can get these on eBay, or you can go to his website and you can buy them from him directly. If you could get in touch with him via email, he's awesome. He'll really be able to kind of like help you out and make sure that you get the right pieces based on your exhaust setup. And my favorite thing about these cutouts is that he offers a 5-year warranty. 5-year warranty. Like, that's so crazy for something that's hanging underneath the car in the elements and has a motor that needs to be operating. And, you know, that really just kind of speaks volumes about the quality of the product. So this is going to be the best of both worlds, because what it means is that I will be able to make it loud when I want it loud and keep it quiet when I want it quiet at the flick of a switch. So there are a couple of ways that you can activate these exhaust cutouts. The first is with this module and this button right here, okay? And you can take this and basically install it into the car, which might be what I wind up doing, or using key fobs, okay? So what I'm gonna do is install them right there behind the muffler, and they're gonna come out so that it sounds really great coming out right from behind. I'm not gonna have exhaust fumes like some people, they install them right underneath the car, and then you get like exhaust fumes coming out from the side, and then like it's weird because the sound is coming from the middle of your car, not the back of the car. And so this is gonna be perfect. The scary thing is I have to cut into my very expensive and beautiful Supersprint mufflers, but I wanted to do something that was very uninvasive. I didn't want to weld or do anything that I basically couldn't reverse. So what I'm doing is, all I have to do is just cut that section right here, and then he sent me these, I believe they're called Y pipes, and then it's gonna go right in. It's got a widened edge, so it'll slide right in. And then this goes like that, and then I've got these turn down pipes that are going to go down, and then obviously it comes with gaskets as well. And then from there, this, it's called a seal clamp. It's just going to go around, and I'll be able to tighten it down so I don't actually have to weld. So the whole, honestly, I think that like the whole installation is going to be pretty straightforward. Huge shout out to my buddy RJ. You should follow him on Instagram, mean46, but the E is a 3. And he provided me with this Sawzall or I think it's called a Sawzall or a Hacksaw from Milwaukee. And this will just slice through that like butter. And so we're gonna cut through that, and then we're gonna put this on, and then probably the hardest part of the whole thing is gonna be running the wires into the car. So let's get started. All right, so we've got the right side off. Now, I made a couple of marks here. This guy is gonna go right in there, like that. It's a very tight fit because I don't know how well this is gonna fit where it kind of starts to bend. The risk is that if this makes it a little bit long, then it could mess up the fitment.
That's what she said.
Michael, please. There he is. Please.
There he is.
I think this is just going to be a little bit of a trial and error. I did the best that I could, and this is just like the terrifying part where I have to cut it. Oh, I'm scared. All right, so that went pretty smoothly. I got this chopped off here, and the moment of truth will be after I get this guy in. So let's see, it's a little bit tough. Let me see here. Okay, so let's see. Oh yes, it fits beautifully. Oh, actually, goes like this, and then this goes sort of like that. So we're probably gonna have to turn it. Something like that. All right, so here's what we got so far. I haven't clamped anything in, but it all seems to fit okay. I've just got the bolts loosely fastened, just holding the muffler up, and it seems pretty good. So the next thing is we're gonna take these seal clamps and tighten everything down. We're working with some really tight space, so it'll be interesting. Hopefully this will fit on both sides. Okay, so it's a new day, and I needed to take a slightly different approach here because we ran into a small problem. Basically, these seal clamps don't fit. So this is what it looks like on one side, and I might be able to torque it down, but it is really, I'm afraid that I'm gonna snap this bolt. And it doesn't make like a really solid seal in there. And the reason for that is because A, you have this pipe that comes out the side and it's kind of blocking the metal clamp from closing up. And then also on this side, you can probably see there's like a little bit of a gap because the pipe curves. And then on this side, Supersprint basically installed this little like support, I guess, to kind of keep the pipe in line with the muffler, and it blocks the clamp from, the width of this doesn't fit in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna unbolt this, and then I'm gonna remove this Y pipe, and I'm gonna just cut slits on the end of either side. And then I went to AutoZone and bought just exhaust clamps, and we're just gonna clamp it on each side, and that'll kind of compress the metal and keep everything in place. So let's get at it. So we've got that right there. So we'll try and do the same thing on the other end. And that will allow us to kind of clamp this tube together on top of the other one. All right, so we got this thing bolted in. It looks pretty good and it's pretty secure. So the next move is getting these turn down pipes along with the cutouts attached to the Y pipe. So there's a chance I might have to rotate this down a little bit, but we'll see. It might be a little bit tight, and then we'll get it all bolted in. All right, so we did it. We got one side in here. I bolted everything back up, and getting access to some of these little bolts up here was a little bit difficult, but I got these gaskets in between, and the turn down pipe, I didn't want to angle it straight down. I thought that by just getting it so that it was kind of pointing away from the muffler and then kind of down at an angle would be ideal. So it's kind of like shooting the sound and shooting everything out the back of the car. If this wasn't here, then basically you can kind of see in there where the valve is, and that would open up, and then, you know, it would be basically putting exhaust fumes and whatever else, you know, smoke, whatever, up against the muffler, and, you know, potentially getting this dirty and wearing it out. So I think that this is the best solution. And then I've got the motor kind of tucked away up here, and then the plug is here. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm gonna run this through. We're gonna work on the other side, and then after I'm finished with the other side, then we'll worry about the wiring. All right, time to knock out side number 2. All right, so I've got the Sawzall charging over there while I do a little bit of wiring work, because I still have to cut slits in the other Y pipe. And this actually turned out to be pretty straightforward. So in this car, there is this plastic well. You can see it underneath here. And in here is the crappy tire inflator thing that nobody ever uses because it doesn't come with a spare tire. And there are some plastic 10mm little nuts. I don't know what you would call these things.
Have you got a little wiener and some tiny nuts?
Sorry.
You know, I could tell just by looking at you. You had a little wiener and some tiny nuts. Oh, yeah.
So I loosened all of them up, and this whole piece of plastic just lifted right up, allowing enough space for a gap to run the wire. So on the underside, we've got our motor right up here, and then here's the wire and the connector, and it just goes right up. Come on, focus. Goes right up into the trunk of the car. And so what we'll be able to do from there is either run this switch and install it, or we could use the remote and just wire this module in the trunk. So I'm still not 100% sure which one I'm gonna go with. But once we get it in the car and the wires are there, then we can kind of make that decision and figure out what the best bet is. So it's day number 3 here. It is so freaking nice out. I got the garage door open. The pup is outside enjoying the sun. Say hi, Marmar. Yes. So basically what happened, I got everything installed last night, and then I ran into a small problem where the motor on the driver's side was not working. So Huge shout out to Charles, again, from Badlanz HPE. I was able to just reach out to him and he kind of walked me through some troubleshooting. Turns out it got like banged around a little bit in the box and the motor kind of froze up. Just whacked it with a screwdriver a couple times and now it's working great. So we got to get this cutout back on the car and then just got to clean up the wiring in the trunk. Basically what we did here is I just wired it into the battery just temporarily to test it. And then what I learned was that you can actually use both the switch and the remote, because the switch actually, you can wire the switch into the controller. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And so if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna need to run the wires through the car and then hook everything up near the driver's seat. However, I might start off just keeping everything in the trunk, driving around with it for a little bit, testing it out before actually figuring out where I'm gonna put that switch. So let's get this guy back up on the car and test it out. Okay, so we're all wired up underneath. Basically, I just used some electrical tape here to cover the connector and then a zip tie to hold it up against the exhaust hanger. You can see where it comes down from the motor and then goes up into the trunk. And so we're all set. I tightened everything up and I did test for exhaust leaks just to make sure that everything is all sealed up. So I tested it in the trunk, but I'm gonna wait to show you guys until I have it back down on the ground and everything is hooked up right. So coming in here, we've got our 10-foot cord, we've got our switch, and then we also have our module. So I'm gonna run all of that through the cabin to the front of the car, and then we'll hook it up over there. All right, so we are all finished. We got the cutouts installed right underneath, and damn, those look so good. I was really worried about the cutouts looking kind of janky, but that is not the case. Just the way that we have them installed and the craftsmanship of the actual parts, everything just looks so good and so professional. So what we've done in terms of wiring, we brought all the wires up through the trunk, and then you can kind of see them a little bit right here. I have fed them up through, and then we put the module, we tucked the module back behind the carpet liner, and the antenna is kind of like draped down a little bit so that it gets good, good reception with the remote. And then I have also I hardwired the module up through the front along the floor liner here. If you haven't seen my video of the install on the Avant 4, I will link it in the description below, which walks you kind of through how to kind of take everything apart so you could wire everything through the dash. But then what I did was wired the switch right here. So all I had to do was remove a couple of screws up here, pull this frame off, and then this plastic piece, I really don't know what this plastic piece was originally intended for, but I was able to pop it out and then drill a hole and file around it to get this switch perfectly fitting in here. So when you hit the button, I don't know if you could hear that, but it opens and closes the vents. So everything is all hooked up. We're gonna turn the car on and hear how it sounds. I thought it sounded absolutely awesome. I love being able to make the car loud or quiet with the flick of a switch. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Follow me on Instagram, M3 Black Shadow. Hit like, hit subscribe. We've got more great videos coming. We're probably gonna do a full overview of the M5, get it out, do like a full review, also do the same thing with the M3. Thanks for watching. Till next time.